Hey everybody, it's Mary Sheila, and I'm really excited to be talking with my friend Mary Beth today. Hey Mary Beth.
Hey, Mary Sheila.
Hey, so Mary Beth and I are both nutrition consultants, and I'm really excited to talk to her a little bit about bone health. And we have been scheming up about bone health because we actually have a yoga, cooking, and nutrition virtual retreat called Nourish Your Bones that's going to be happening on August 23rd. And we just thought we'd jump on here and talk a little bit about it and share, I guess, both of us, like why we have this passion and we've dove deep into bone health, especially around food. So you are also a yoga teacher in addition, right? So that's
Yeah.
probably a little bit about why you're kind of interested in bone health as well.
Gosh, I don't know where to start because my earliest memory of bone health happened when I was 6 years old and my grandmother fell and broke her hip. We know so many people who are older and brittle bones seem to be sort of the, the thing that happens, right? But then, and later on, my father broke his hip, like things happened in my family. So I started getting very aware of, wow, your skeleton could break. But when I my own self got diagnosed. I got diagnosed with osteopenia in my early 50s. I started worrying a little bit about that and started studying about it. And it's even about when I was in nutrition school. So I thought, oh, there's a lot you can do with food to start to keep the bones really healthy. And I'd been teaching yoga for, well, I don't know, at that point, many years. I've been teaching since 2009. So I also started realizing that, yoga poses could also start building your bones. So now I'm like, okay, this is the way to go to keep my skeleton nice and strong for the rest of my life. And lo and behold, a lot of other people want to know this too. So I want to share this with people I know and love.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and just to share my journey with bone health is, when I first started practicing, and I would always have clients come to see me, they would always bring their little pile of supplements. And sometimes it was a big bag, sometimes it was a small bag, but they always had calcium. And it seemed like they were always taking a lot of calcium. And I would ask them, wow, why are you taking this? Oh, well, for my bones. My doctor told me to take it for my bones. And then a few years later, everyone was taking high amounts of calcium and high amounts of vitamin D. And meanwhile, I was watching, as a practitioner, I was watching the recommended intake of calcium from like 1600 milligrams to 1200 milligrams. And then it was like, well, wait a minute, make sure you're counting how much you're eating. And it was just kind of kept fluctuating. And then, then vitamin D was like the new kid on the block. And then I also realized that, women in particular have some of the highest rates of cardiovascular issues, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
One of the things that they always say about it is you have calcifications in your blood vessels. And I was like, wait a
Mm-hmm.
minute, I keep seeing these high levels of calcium. And now understanding more about cardiovascular, they're calling it calcifications. So I knew that building healthy bones was more than just taking calcium, and I really wanted to understand. And so that's what I did. I really dove in, and I did a lot of research, and I actually taught like a 6-week bone health class that was both online and in person. And it just, of course, it really opened my eyes to how to really care for our bones. And then, the other thing, you have a background in yoga and I have a background in the sister science of Ayurveda, which
Mm-hmm.
is both come from India. And, one of the really amazing things about, I love Ayurveda. I love how you can know and learn to nourish the body more deeply through the principles and through understanding the foundations of Ayurveda. But one of
Right.
the things that I really I got was that, when we consume food, there's a channel, the way nutrients get sort of embedded and nourish the bodies and nourish the 7 tissues or the dhatus. It takes time, and it takes each tissue being healthy to produce its own tissue and then produce the building blocks for the next deeper layer of tissue. And the bones are further along in the dhatus and the tissues, so that it takes more nourishment and more time to nourish the bones. And that makes sense. Like if you know, break
Mm-hmm.
a bone, it takes a while for it to heal and to rebuild and fill. And beyond the bones is the bone marrow, which is the center of the bone where our immune system and immune cells are born, and then also our nerves and our whole nervous system and our reproductive hormones. So nourishing ourselves all the way down to the bones, you know,
Right.
it does take more than calcium, right? It takes like, you know, the right foods prepared right. It takes the right kind of exercise, you know, it takes digestive health. And so there's just a lot of pieces. So I know both of us are passionate about teaching people all the different pieces. Anyway, so one of the things that we decided to do is like, wow, wouldn't it be great to have a yoga class and then a cooking class and then a nutrition lesson, like all in one day. Give yourself this full opportunity to really walk away knowing, okay, these are great exercises for my bones to keep them strong. Here's how this is, you know, let's just break down the science of soaking and sprouting and cooking your greens right so that you just know and you feel confident in your kitchen. And we have some really awesome recipes. And
Yep. Yep.
we're going to be making this delicious ferment, which is like a beet, berry, and fennel ferment, and it's really good, and it's not too sweet. You can make it sweeter, and I can show you how. But we're going to be making this nice ferment and a couple other really delicious dishes that are, you know, a little twist on the normal. So you have, you know, so kind of excited about some new recipes.
Yeah.
And we're going to sit and just really break down and teach you more about bone health and a little bit about gut health, and just so you just have more of an understanding, and you're not, you know, I know one of the things I feel like you've told me, Mary Beth, is that sometimes if you get a diagnosis of like osteoporosis or osteopenia, or it's in your family and you've seen the consequences, you know, you can kind of feel a little bit like a deer in the headlights, like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And
You panic like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
yeah, and so that's what we really want to do, is just break it down
Mm-hmm.
and have fun. And it's all virtual, so you can live anywhere. It's going to be on August 23rd, and it's going to start at 9 o'clock with yoga, and then a little break, and then cook some good food, and then take a lunch break, clean up your kitchen, and then dive into the science a little bit. You know, not too sciencey. I was a teacher for many years. Actually, that's how I met Mary Beth. I was her teacher at Bowman College. We've stayed connected, and yeah, and so we're just going to bring it.
We're gonna bring it. Yeah. I'm excited about it. And you know, like the yoga is about like stimulating the bones to be strong and sturdy, like the poses, you're bearing your own body weight, you know, so you're building the bone, but you're also reducing that fracture risk, which is also great because there's sort of these different levels of yoga that we'll bring to it. So you're reducing your fracture risk by building in better balance and stronger body and responsiveness to the world around you. And then to connect it to nutrition, because I'm always thinking of yoga and nutrition for bone health, is that when you're doing a consistent yoga practice, that your body is calm and more in the rest and digest state. So then that's when we're going to end our yoga class and then go on to our cooking class. So
Yeah, great. And you are certified as a yoga for osteoporosis teacher as well, aren't you?
correct. Yeah. Yeah. From Dr. Fishman. And then I have other training as well that makes the class really accessible. And so,
It is important to make sure you're doing yoga safely with a diagnosis, and that's sort of what your approach to this
yeah.
class, and I think some of your other classes as well.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, cool. Well, thank you for hanging out here on Zoom, and I hope, you know, if you're interested in the class, you can click the link and learn more about it. We'd love to have you. We're super excited about it. We've been planning it for the last few months now. All right. Thanks so much. Take care.